You know what I'm here for.
Back on top, punching the clock, clutching sanity. I got more cribs than Habitat for Humanity.
What's good, y'all? Welcome back. Daily December continues. I believe this is day number 4. It's a little late, but I want to talk about the Cleveland Cavaliers because I love when teams can prove me wrong. And in the offseason, I was talking a lot of stuff about the Cavs. I know some Cavs fans, they were talking about they could be a playing team this season. I'm like, nah, I don't think this is the year for y'all. I think y'all might be one of the worst teams in the league. I wasn't feeling the Laurie Markkanen trade at all. And I just didn't like the way this team was constructed, man. But they've completely flipped my perspective this season, and I love what I've seen from this Cavs team. Been one of my favorite teams to watch, man. And even with Colin, Sexton being out, I think this Cavs team, right now, a little bit in the middle of the pack. A lot of NBA teams are kind of like a couple games, either above or below 500. But the Cavs have been good, and I think they can continue this going forward. So let's talk about it. There's a lot to talk about that could be like the catalyst for the Cleveland Cavaliers being good, but it's been a lot of different factors, a lot of different players. I want to start with Jarrett Allen. I think he's the guy to start with because offseason he got a nice payday. He got 5 years, $100 million, I believe was the contract. And a lot of people were like, that's a lot of M's, you know, for Jarrett Allen. He's a good player, pretty good center, but I don't think people in the preseason had him as a top 10 center in the league. So far this season, he's definitely been the top 10 center in the league. He is doing a lot for this team on both ends of the floor. Really efficient. I mean, he gets a lot of alley-oops, a lot of duck-off dunks and stuff, but he's very efficient. Defensively, we know he blocks shots. He goes after everything, and he's rebounding the ball really well. Don't know what his counting numbers is, but it seems like every single night he's having like a 20 and 15 type of game. Like, he's been that good, especially lately since he came back from his injury. It's good to see Jarrett Allen playing well. And they did this 3 big thing, man. They said we're starting Laurie Markkanen alongside rookie Evan Mobley and Jarrett Allen. And I didn't think it was going to work. And opening night, it didn't look like great. But since then, it's really looked well. And, you know, each of the 3 guys have missed some time, you know, whether it's been coronavirus or just, you know, some injuries here and there. But when they've been on the court, they've been really well. And that's the ability for Evan Mobley to be such a versatile defender. He can guard wings, which is critical. He can guard wings pretty well. I remember a game earlier this season, he was guarding LeBron James. I mean, LeBron had a good game, but it's still it's promising that a rookie, you know, technically a center basically, like he could be a center on some teams, is able to guard elite wing players. That's a very good sign. And Laurie Markkanen, he hasn't been amazing, but he's doing his job well, and he's, you know, shooting the 3-ball pretty good. I think he's shooting like 38% this season. At least I heard that on the broadcast, or maybe since he came back that he's been shooting well. But I know since he's came back, he's been playing pretty good basketball. And that's not something I thought that would be successful, the 3, you know, towers. I mean, that's basically 3 7-footers that you're starting, and it's worked out really well. It's been such a surprise, but they like what they saw. They obviously got Laurie Markkanen for a reason. You're not going to be paying him almost $70 million, I think, just to come off the bench. And it's been very successful, you know, the 3 big lineup, which is something I did not think I would be saying in 2021, but it's been very good. Losing Colin Sexton was tough. It took this team about a week to really understand how to score the ball offensively without Colin Sexton. But having Darius Garland has been just so key for this team. I feel like Darius Garland is somebody that is not really as known around the NBA world as maybe he should be. Of course, diehard fans definitely know Darius Garland as one of the young up-and-coming point guards in the league. But I think like just the average fan doesn't really know a lot about DG, man. And he's such a good player to really watch. And like I would advise like young point guards, watch Darius Garland because he's somebody that you can model this game after. He's just crafty. He's not athletic. He's a little undersized. He's like 6 foot. Really knows how to use the floater very well. He's a good jump shooter, very good playmaker. And from what last season was, he stepped up last season after a kind of subpar rookie year. Last season was very good for him, and this season's been even better. Even if his counting numbers aren't like off the charts, maybe not a big jump from last season, his impact is a lot better than it was last year too, and it's a lot more consistent for him every single night. And I'm loving what I'm seeing from him. Like really, one of my favorite young players in the league is Darius Garland. And it's me and my dad were talking. He's like, man, they need to trade Sexton, and it's like, man, they probably. It's interesting now because Colin Sexton, I believe, is supposed to miss the rest of the season. So it's like either you can trade him maybe for not too much because he's hurt and he's on an expiring contract, or maybe you can get him back next season for like a lower level deal, maybe a 1-year prove it type deal for Colin Sexton so he can, you know, go back out the following offseason and get the contract that he wants. It's kind of a weird situation, but I think it's a lose-lose situation, right? I mean, not a lose-lose, a win-win situation for the Cavs right now because there's no real rush to trade him because you can probably bring him back on a 1-year deal next offseason. I think that's a possibility for Cleveland. And if you lose him, I don't think they're going to really be suffering. I don't think that they'll suffer. I think they really like what Isaac Okoro is bringing to the table. He's been very good since he's gotten more playing time this season. Ricky Rubio, he was killing early on, still playing good basketball, but he's just such a good asset to have. You know, another very good veteran guard on this team. Even Kevin Love hasn't been bad. Like, his minutes off the bench have been cool. Like, the Cavs, it's such a surprise that they've been so good because they started off last season decent too, but the fall off was inevitable. It was going to come, and it happened. I'm not so sure about it this year. I think that they could continue to keep up this pace and at least be in the play-in. I think they'll be at least a play-in team, man. The East is definitely a lot better this season, but a lot of teams are kind of just like 12-10, 12-11, or 11-12. Like, they're right around 500. Either at 500 or like a couple games separated, either wins or losses. I know the Celtics are like a game over. I know there's a few teams, you know, the Wizards are starting to fall down a little bit, and the Cavs just beat the Wizards, you know, handily last night. They were winning by 30 points at one point. Like, the East is interesting, man, but the Cavs, young team, playing with a lot of, you know, good energy. I like the defensive mentality of this team, and a lot of that's predicated to Mobley and Jarrett Allen. Also, Isaac Okoro has been very good. And then they got other guys in the rotation that just play really good basketball. Like, Lamar Stevenson's a rotational player in the NBA. I hadn't heard the name before this season at all, but he's been playing good minutes for the Cavs. Like, the Cavs have guys that can play, you know, just quality basketball every single night. And they have guys that, you know, they can really rely on to be great every single night. I think Darius Garland is somebody now that you can rely on to be great every single night. Jarrett Allen is getting to that type of player too. And Evan Mobley, if he's not impacting the game so much offensively, which he seems to, you know, pretty much every game, defensively, you know he's going to be there every single night. So the Cleveland Cavaliers, man, proving me wrong. I love when teams do this and players do this. I mean, before the season, I didn't think that they were going to be that good, but right now, looking like one of the surprise teams in the NBA definitely so far this season, and I hope that they can continue to keep it up because they've been one of my favorite teams to watch. Don't think I said this at the beginning, but leave a like, subscribe, man. We are uploading daily videos for the month of December, trying to hit 500 subs. I need y'all's help to do that. We're like 80 subs away, but we're about 80 subs away, so hopefully we can hit that before the end of the month. But I appreciate y'all, and I'll be back tomorrow with another video. Peace.
Off season. Let's work. Hey, plotting my escape, this game right.